Let me take you back 48 hours ago.
So, we have given the president 48 hours.
No, we won't.
You won't
48 hours, let's fix it. And after 48 hours, FedEx will take a decision with the leader if the president does not abide on what the next step is.
What sort of decisions are you looking at? What are your options?
There are no options that I can discuss with you on the table right now. The only option that exists for President Ramaphosa is to reinstate Andrew Whitfield.
A few moments later.
I see that many came here with the expectation that we will leave the GNU.
The DA have failed to overturn the decision by Cyril Ramaphosa to reinstate Andrew or fire Nkabane or Simelane. So all this performance was for nothing. This made John very angry.
And I am frankly tired of being disrespected and shown the remarkable disrespect that the DA is and other coalition partners are shown on a far too regular basis.
Oh, poor John. I feel very sorry for John and the DA. Now we know you will never leave the GNU. The blue lights, the executive, the ministerial positions, you're going nowhere.
We're not going to walk out on the GNU, and we're not going to walk out on South Africa, and we're not going to walk out on the people who are looking to us.
This is a very abusive relationship that the DA is in with the ANC. It's like a poor girl from the village who married an abusive rich prince. She's beaten every day, abused every day, but she can't go back home because it is cold outside. She cannot go back to the village and leave the palace. We all thought that this time is for real. We all thought that the poor girl is leaving the palace and going back to the village. So we waited patiently for 48 hours. What a disappointment. Now the DA is begging to stay in government. The DA is begging for relevance. The DA is begging to stay in the GNU. The DA is begging for blue lights.
And so we will stay in the GNU as long as we believe we can be part of that change. However, we should not be tested to the point where we will have to make a decision.
I say, Pezwabo Ramaphosa, enjoy the ride, abuse them. The DA is not going to leave the GNU. Enjoy the ride. So, John Steenhuisen is saying, we are not going anywhere until you kick us out. So if you don't kick us out, we're not going to go anywhere. The only thing we'll do is to make threats, make a lot of noise, but Asindao, you must kick us out if you want us to leave, but we're not going anywhere. So ANC, here's your punching bag. Enjoy it.
The ball is in the president's court and the ANC's court. If they want to take a strong stance against us and want to stop us standing against corruption, well, they must fire us from the Government of National Unity. The president has made a big deal this week about his prerogative. If he feels that we've done something wrong and that standing up against corruption is something that deserves punishment, well, he must exercise that prerogative.
I say, it serves them right. Because the DA zenza makakanuka kangcono. Now, Steenhuisen is crying. It's not just Steenhuisen alone. Even the FedEx, bayabona ukuthi la siyadlalwa. They keep on believing in this statement of intent, but yet bayabona ukuthi the statement of intent asisebenzi lutho. In fact, the DA is the only one that believes in this so-called statement of intent. Even Helen Zille, uyakhala uyazithulisa, uyabona ukuthi ayikho lento.
The ANC has ignored every single clause of the statement of intent. We insisted that it was signed by Fikile and Balula before we agreed to vote for the president on the 14th of June last year. But frankly, that signature isn't worth the paper it's written on.
At least to Helen sayayibona lento. But for John, I don't think so.
And the ANC needs to start realizing that we are part of a coalition. And being part of a coalition means that you show respect to your individuals. Now, I have shown nothing but respect to the president throughout the term of the GNU.
John is trying to say something here. And in all rights, he is right. The only problem is that the DA have exposed themselves and show the ANC that they are not willing to leave the GNU. They're not willing to leave the marriage. That is their problem.
We need to understand that we are all leaders. Yes, the ANC may be the largest party in the coalition, but it doesn't have 51%. The DA has 22% in the coalition. We also are not the largest party, but we deserve to be treated, and our leaders deserve to be treated with the same respect that is expected of us to show the President of the Republic of South Africa.
Okay, let's dive deeper into this chaos. What really happened? Cyril Ramaphosa fired the deputy minister from the DA. The DA had no problem with anything that is going wrong within the cabinet. The DA had no problem with Unkabane. The DA had no problem with Usimelane. The DA had no problem with the 700 million that was going to be spent, that the government is still going to spend for a talk show. The DA had no issue with passing the budget. They only start having an issue because their own has been fired. The same thing applied. They started having issues with the VAT because they were not getting the position they were bargaining for. That is DA for you. But we have a bigger problem in this government. Take, for example, this guy flew to America in February, March, April, May, and only in June an action is taken. So this is the kind of government that we have. It takes them 4 months to deal with a small HR issue. That is why today we still have people in the cabinet that are being accused of state capture and so on and so on. 30 people in the cabinet are still there and no action is being taken. It just takes too long for this government to effect change. Is this the government we want? Is this the government that will take us to the future? Is this a government that's going to liberate us? I don't think so. There is no way that a lousy HR matter to discipline, dismiss, or fire somebody could take 4 months. So John knew that Andrew was being fired, was going to get fired. He's only mad because ubebhize donsa amafinyila until incwadi yaze yafika ku Andrew. However, he acted all surprised. But anyways, that's what all politicians do.
I can think of no more remarkably disrespectful thing to do to a fellow leader than to undermine them in their own party. And the actions taken around the firing of Andrew Whitfield could only have been served to undermine me in my own party. Now, if I had done that to the president, I imagine I would have received a furious reaction. I don't think it's fair that you try and earn tough guy credentials by going after a DA member when you're not prepared to be the tough guy and going after your own members who are breaking the Executive Ethics Code, the Executive Ethics Act, and who through acts of omission and commission cost the South African public a great deal in terms of money. That we're here for the best interests of South Africa. We do not believe that it is in the best interests of South Africa for the current GNU to collapse and for a coalition of chaos or corruption to follow, because the feeding frenzy that would then result from MK or the EFF getting into office and other parties will be significant.